Hi everyone, welcome back to Loyaltiness channel. I am a lawyer and I help the ordinary person to know what the law says, and all I do is to try and help the ordinary person to know the basic things in law which may affect them and how they can protect themselves away from getting into any trouble. Today we are talking about how to defend yourself, what we usually call self-defense, in a way that you escape prison. And so I'm going to tell you 5 reasons why you may not benefit from self-defense in Ghana law. So the self-defense is basically like, okay, you are there, somebody comes to attack you, then you defend yourself, and by defending yourself, you may kill the person, you may stab the person, you may wound the person. Now, if that person goes to report you to the police, they come to arrest you. Your main defense that you mentioned is that it was in self-defense. That whatever you did to the person, you did it in self-defense. Now, what would the law say? Will the law say that, okay, yeah, that is self-defense, or the law will not say that? Remember that just because you said it's self-defense does not mean that the law will accept. The law will have conditions that they will look at to see if something qualifies to be self-defense. Now take note that if you're able to satisfy the court that what you did was in self-defense, then you'll be forgiven. You would not be guilty. The law will free you totally. And so remember that if you stab somebody or you kill somebody in self-defense, you don't go to court and say, I am guilty of the crime. No. Let them know that you did it in self-defense. In fact, speak to a lawyer first, but then make sure that you state clearly that whatever you did was in self-defense, because in law, self-defense is a total defense. It means that even if you killed somebody, even if you stabbed somebody, even if you burned something or someone in self-defense, the law will say you did not do any wrong at all. But let's take note of these 5 things. These 5 things that if you do not take care and you do these things, you will not benefit from what we say, what we call self-defense under Ghana law. The first thing is that your defense will only be acceptable when you defended or you did the act in defense when the attack was still ongoing. When the attack was still ongoing. So if somebody is, let's say, threatening you with a knife or with a cutlass or a machete, and the person stops threatening you and moves far away from you and is leaving you, you have no business going back to defend yourself. At that time, the law sees that the attack has ceased. If the attack has ceased and you go ahead to attack the person back and call it self-defense, the law will not accept that as self-defense at all. So somebody comes to your house and tries attacking you, and then you get people to come and seize the attack and hold the person back. Now they take the person far away from your house. Then you go and pick the best machete or the gun in your house and say, I'm going to defend myself. Hey, the attack has ceased. The law will not accept that as self-defense, and you face the full rigors of the law. So that's the first thing you should take note of. And the second thing you have to take note of is that the harm you cause in defense must be proportionate to the attack that was on you. Now take note. The harm that you use in defense of yourself should be proportionate to the attack on you. So in law, we basically say that you cannot kill a mosquito with a gun. So literally, a mosquito, let's say on your cheeks, or it's on the cheeks of your friend, then you say that I'm using a gun to kill the mosquito. That is not reasonable. Now let's look at the harm that a mosquito can cause. The mosquito is going to bite your friend. It will leave a wound, a smaller wound. It will get some malaria, but then that's something that you can treat in the long run. Now this is a gun. Now if you use a gun to kill the mosquito, you kill the mosquito completely, and you do even more harm to your friend whose body the mosquito is actually on. Or if it is your own body, there's no way you use a gun to kill a mosquito on your own body. That's a big difference that we have to take note of. And so if somebody is coming to attack you with, let's say, a cassava stick, as small as a cassava stick may be, then you pick a gun. No. but the impact or the harm that weapon can do to you. And so if you are looking at a self-defense, then you should be reasonable to know that the harm that you are going to cause in defense of yourself will not be more than what the person is doing to you. I hope you understand me. The next thing that you have to know is that if your act of defense causes the death of another person, you have to show to the court that what you did was extreme necessity. Take note. If whatever you do to defend yourself caused the death of the person, you have to show to the court that what you did in defense of that attack was of extreme necessity. It means that there was nothing else you could have done than to kill the person. Death is a serious business. If you kill someone, it's a serious matter. And so before you can show that you actually have a self-defense by killing someone, you have to show that it was extremely necessary that you had to do that. That if you had not done that, your life would have been at stake as well. It is an opportunity to avoid killing the person. You do not use the opportunity. The law will deem that no, this was not an extreme necessity and that you actually abused the self-defense. And so make sure that if you are doing something that is likely to kill somebody, or that killing is a necessity, if you cannot justify that killing is a necessity, then you should not do that. So please take note of that. Now, the next thing you have to know is that if you are doing anything in self-defense, make sure that you are being reasonable. We are being a reasonable person is that when somebody sits down and look at the whole circumstances of the case, will the person say, oh, this is the most reasonable thing to do? Oh, this one, he had no other option than to do this. So I gave an example earlier in the Twi video that you are in your house, then you see someone trying to enter your house, and you have a gun. Instead of you to maybe fire warning shots, you just go ahead and knock the person right away. When you know the person is not armed, the person is right behind your wall, the person is not in there, you could have done any other thing than shoot the person. Were you being reasonable when you did that? Now somebody is fighting with you or somebody is attacking you, hit you with a stick, then you hit the person with a block. While the person is still on the floor, you still do more and hit the person back. Now, at a point where the attack has ceased, why do you keep hurting the person? Are you being reasonable? Are you actually defending yourself, or you're just taking a revenge on the person? So the proportion of the harm, the proportion of the attack, the proportion of the defense be reasonable, because somebody will sit there and look at all the circumstances of the case and see whether this person actually deserves to be pardoned, or he overexceeded the things that he or she has to do in defense of himself in that circumstance. So please take note of that. Remember that the court will always look at the surrounding circumstances to see if you actually did any of the things that we are talking about. Make sure that it will not be something that will be revenge, because if it is a revenge, the court will see. If somebody attacks you one and you attack the person 10 times, especially when the person has no power to defend themselves again, then you are being unreasonable. Now, make sure you do not overexceed your limits. Make sure you don't. So be reasonable. Be like a reasonable human being who has been attacked. What would you do? Would you go over and above? Would you do things in revenge? Now you may think that, oh, that other person is dead, so you don't know what happened. No. Sometimes the person may be dead, but we'll look at the doctor's report to see the extent of the harm that was caused to the person, for us to know that, was this particular harm necessitated? Could you have done something else? We look at all these and many other things to determine whether or not you should be pardoned in law for saying that you had self-defense or you were defending yourself. I know there are so many things in respect of self-defense. We would learn more. Let me see what your questions are. Put them in the comment section. Kindly share with your friends. These things can happen to anybody. Share. Let's learn together. Until we meet again, have a very, very, very good time. And please stay out of trouble and fights. Thank you. Bye.